In this video, we're going to be ranking the Generation 1 officers here in Warpath. There might be a little bit more to this video than appears to be on the surface, and if you're a new player in Warpath, this video is going to have some value for you as well, because this is going to get you on the right track early in the game and know which officers to invest in and which ones to stay away from when it comes to Generation 1 officers specifically. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, guys. I hope everybody is doing well. Like I said, there is a little bit more to this video than meets the surface, but this video, especially if you are a new player, is going to help get you on the right track and know which officers to invest in, which ones to stay away from, and which ones are somewhere in the middle for Generation 1 officers specifically. Now, with that being said, of course, this is not just a cut and dry list. This is my opinion, of course, but there is also some variables there, such as which units you prioritize playing, such as tanks, artillery, whatever it might be. And this is going to be the ground force Generation 1 officers specifically. This is not going to include Air Force Generation 1 officers. I don't want to waste a lot of time and just sit here and fill this with a bunch of, nonsense. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and start with officer number 14 on our list. Coming in at number 14 is going to be White Wolf. She's an infantry officer. She's not terrible by any means, but as you get into the mid to late stages of the game, there's just going to be too many other, really high value infantry specific officers. She's not going to be one that you're going to necessarily need to invest universal statues in. But the good news, you are going to get her statues for free passively by completing daily officer missions. So over time, and it will take you a while, but over time, you will eventually get her completely awakened for completely free. Coming in at number 13 on the list is going to be Bloody Mary. Says she's a versatile officer. She's really not. She's more of a tank officer than anything, but she doesn't really hold much value at all, whether it's in the early stages of the game and especially not in the mid to late stages of the game. Coming in at number 12 is going to be Death Adder. Again, versatile officer. He's basically primarily a tank officer. He's all right in early game if you run multiple tanks, but he's going to hold basically no value in the mid to later stages of the game. The one piece of value that he will bring you, though, depending on, of course, your unit setup and which officers you invest in later in the game, you can still his increased pin damage by 40%. If you're running like an ATG, or if you want to throw it on, a tank officer as a skill for the skill training system, but outside of that, he really holds no value at all, actually. Coming in at number 11 is going to be Tip of the Spear. Now, he is a pretty overlooked officer, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't actually hold much value, especially with his 3 passive skills here, but his first awakened skill is actually, or his first tactical skill, I apologize, is actually pretty valuable, even though it's more of a time-based skill. So let's add a rallying cry, which increases the damage intensity of this officer's troop by 45%. When maxed, that jumps to 50% when he is awakened. Point being, that is a massive amount of damage intensity buff right there. Again, even though it only lasts for 4 seconds, that is a very significant amount of damage intensity buff that you're getting. So in that regard, he is actually pretty valuable. Again, depending on the unit type, depending on where you're at in the game. I think he's a pretty overlooked officer, but that's about the only bit of value he has, so that's why he is a little bit lower on the list. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Erupter. He is an artillery officer. He pairs well with Antonina in the early game, especially because he is a artillery officer geared towards fortification damage specifically. Now, as you get into the later stages of the game, there are additional officers that are geared also towards fortification damage that are far better than Erupter. However, if you are a pretty heavy base-to-base player and you're running 3, if not 4 artillery attacking enemy bases, he is definitely, even in the later stages of the game, still going to find a place in your unit lineup. But that is, again, a very niche playstyle. So if you aren't running a 3 to 4 already setup and specifically fighting base to base style, he's probably not going to hold much value for you long term. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Angel of Light. Now, she is, if you invest in infantry specifically, she's going to be a very good officer even late game. She pairs really, really well on infantry units, especially when she is used in tandem with Everbloom. They are both infantry, healing, and damage absorption based officers, so she does extremely well in that role, even in the later stages of the game. She is a little bit lower on the list, though, because she is very niche. She is geared specifically towards infantry, and not a lot of players invest very heavily into their infantry units. Spanner is going to be coming in at number 8 on the list here, and he is number 8 because he's not a bad officer. He is definitely not an officer that is going to be very relevant to you in the mid to late stages of the game, but in the early stages of the game, if you are a base-to-base player, he is going to be very good on a super heavy or a main battle tank, depending on which one you have or have access to. If you're tanking bases and you need a damage absorbing and, kind of health regenerating officer, he's going to be your guy. But again, more of a niche officer than anything, but he does lose relevancy as we get later into the game. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Winter Huntsman. Now, he is actually not a bad officer at all. In the early stages of the game, that is, he doesn't really hold much relevancy. Mid to late stage of the game, you're going to be able to get his statues through the Theater of Conquest store, so you don't actually have to invest universal statues into him, which is good and brings up his value a little bit. But his unique skill is that he has the ability to freeze or trap ground force troops for 2 seconds, preventing them from moving, so that certainly has its appeal early in the game. On top of the fact that, at least as of making this video, he is the only officer in the game that has a skill that actually freezes enemy units. So again, early in the game, there is some value there that can be had. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Tiger Marauder. Now, Tiger Marauder is not a terrible officer, actually. His 3 passive skills here are absolutely nothing to be impressed by, but his first tactical skill actually has some value. So once you max it out, meaning once you reach level 5, it's going to do 400 damage coefficient per missile, and you can get salvos of 2 to 4 missiles. So, you put all that together, I mean, you're talking some pretty significant damage coefficient there. Now, the drawback with Tiger Marauder is that damage coefficient is not mind-blowingly good in the later stages of the game. It's very comparable to a lot of generation, especially 3 and 4 officers. On top of the fact that those generation 3 and 4 officers have way better and more potent passive skills. So him just having 1, average tactical skill and 3 below average passive skills make him not a very big draw mid and late game. But early in the game, if you're looking for an officer that can really dish out some damage, Tiger Marauder would be the one. I would still advise you not to invest in him unless you are just spending huge money in the game. Save your statues for later stage officers. Coming in at number 5 is Percy. Now, Percy is an iconic officer in Warpath. She isn't really relevant, truthfully, in mid to late game, but she is kind of a relic of the past a little bit. She's got some value. For example, her second skill here is going to increase the damage intensity of a troop when garrisoned in your base. She's not going to be running a main role for you mid to late game, but there are garrison-specific officers that you will want on your artillery units or an ATG, for example, and you can absolutely get some value out of this skill specifically with her. She is going to offer you some unique skills, or I should say more, not unique, but beneficial skills early in the game as well. One of the good things about Percy and why she's a little bit higher on this list is you're going to have some early game challenges that you can do to get her statues and to fully awaken her very quickly and for completely free. So that alone increases her value simply because you will get some value from her early on. You can still get a little bit of value from her skill mid and late game, and you get her statues for completely free without having to invest any universal statues into her. Coming in at number 4 on our list is going to be Guardian of Truth, the OG pay-to-win, if you will, officer in Warpath. He is not nearly as expensive as exclusive lounge officers. Now, if you are brand new in Warpath and watching this video, you are not going to know what I mean by an exclusive officer. Don't worry about it. You will when it starts to come around. But Guardian of the Truth is going to be an officer that you can purchase packs for, and he is a good officer early in the game. Now, with that being said, it's been a little over 4.5 years since I have purchased him, so I don't exactly know how much to the cent that it is, but I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of $300, maybe $400 to fully awaken him, compared to exclusive lounge officers, which are somewhere in the ballpark of about $200 to $2,500 USD, that is, to fully awaken. So he's significantly less expensive, but he also doesn't hold value. If you want a big advantage early in the game, he's definitely your man, especially when it comes to tanks. If you are looking for a long-term return on your investment, so to speak, he is not going to be an officer you really want to invest in. You can buy just enough packs to invest in a specific skill if that's kind of a route you wanted to go, but other than that, he's not really going to be relevant later game. Coming in at number 3 on our list is going to be War Machine. He is one of the most underrated officers in the game. He definitely loses a little bit of steam late game. He's still going to be relevant for you in the mid stage of the game. Late stage, he's still going to hold some value through his passive skill, but we'll get to that in a minute. Early in the game, he is a monster. Another officer that has just really a ton of value, and you can get his statues for completely free through your Alliance store, so you don't have to put any universal statues into him. You certainly can, but you don't have to, which, his skills alone are very, very valuable early on in the game especially, so that alone makes him worth it. But also knowing that you can get him awakened and not have to put any universal statues into him makes him all the better. His big draw is his 4th skill here, which reduces the load time by 10%. That is going to hold significant value both in the early game, mid game, and late game. Him as a primary officer, not going to be super relevant late game, but this skill right here is absolutely always going to be relevant in Warpath. Now, speaking of exclusive lounge officers, Saber of the Nation is an exclusive lounge officer. In fact, he is going to be either the first or one of the first exclusive lounge officers that you are going to have access to and are going to be able to invest in. He's actually pretty dang good. He definitely does continue to stay relevant in the mid and later stages of the game. Now, his role is a little bit niche. He's obviously an artillery-specific unit, but if you're doing, for example, if you're running like a rocket launcher truck and you're doing hit-and-run attacks on other artillery, whatever it might be, or infantry for that matter, he definitely is a good one to have, outside of kind of that niche role. He really is good. A lot of people kind of undersell him. A lot of people see his true value. I fall into the category of seeing his true value. I think if you invest in him, I think you're going to be okay. Obviously, it's going to cost you some money if you want to get him quick. I will also caution you and let you know that as the game progresses and as you play more and more and more, the exclusive lounge officers that you're going to unlock and have access to are going to be significantly better. Even in just regard to artillery officers, there's going to be a lot more, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's going to be a handful more exclusive lounge artillery officers that are definitely going to be better than Saber. No question about it. But if you want a heavy hitter early in the game for your artillery unit that will still make sense later game, Saber is going to be a choice for you. And coming in at number 1 on our list, to no surprise, is going to be Antonina. She is a beast. She is an artillery-specific officer, and she absolutely survives the test of time. She's going to be great early game, mid game, late game. She is currently only one of 2, I believe. No, I apologize. 3 officers now that are going to give you an extra grid of firing range. So that means artillery units specifically have a standard range of 4 grids that they can fire from. Once you awaken her, that is going to become 5 grids, which is going to make a pretty significant difference. She's a very, very good officer to have. She's definitely worth investing in, no question about it. Even if you're not investing heavily in artillery, I would absolutely encourage you to invest all of your universal statues into Antonina Shevchenko as quickly as you can in the game, and then start holding the rest of them, saving them up and building them for generation 2, 3, 4 officers as they begin to unlock for you. That's going to wrap us up for this video. If you've got any questions, drop those in the comments, or if you would like to get a little bit more direct with it. The link to our Discord, our community Discord, is going to be in the description of the video. Click on that link. It will take you right into the community Discord server. Whether you are a brand new player in Warpath, a veteran player, or somewhere in between, absolutely everybody is welcome. We would love to have you. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.